Hi, welcome to Downshift. My name is Matt. And this is the BMW M440i Gran Coupe. The M440i, a car that befuddles so many. On one hand, it's got that face, but on the other hand, it's a faultless sports sedan. So thanks to International BMW for letting us get behind the wheel and see what's what. Now we can't talk about this car without discussing the beating heart underneath the hood, the B58 3-liter twin-scroll inline-6. It's an unfreaking believable engine. It makes, in actuality, over like 400 horsepower when dynoed, and yet you can get over 30 mpg on the highway. How? Now, I understand, you've bought a car with the letter M on it, and gas is cheaper now, so maybe you don't care about fuel economy. But I bring it up because it's just so impressive what BMW has brought here. And then, on top of all this, the aftermarket has proved how stout this engine is. It can make toward 500 horsepower without really sweating reliability. The power comes in low, it pulls clean with a nice flat torque curve, and it makes decent sound while it does it. And then you have the brilliant ZF 8-speed gearbox, which just cracks and pops and burbles. When we say that the AMGs have more drama than the M cars, yeah, okay, kind of, but these M Light versus AMG Light cars, there's nothing touching this thing. And then there's the M Sport LSD controlling all that power as it gets to all four wheels. The powertrain and driveline on these BMWs is simply faultless. Does it bring a jaw-dropping level of performance? Maybe not, but there isn't another powertrain combo that makes the most of its power in the way these BMWs do. And then there's handling, and just like everything else, it's not going to put you on pins and needles, but it's just faultless. There isn't a lot of feedback from the steering, but it's just sharp and it's quick. The rack is tight, the front end bites and dives into a corner, the suspension is adaptive, and it can keep the chassis nice and neutral through a corner no matter what speed. And the brakes are strong and give you confidence in your control over the car. And right around the limit, you get this little playful feeling from the rear end. And isn't that what everyone wants? And then, when you just want to settle it down and be a luxury car, you just flip it into comfort mode, let the suspension adjust itself, steering will lighten back, transmission will soften off, and then all of a sudden you just have a nice luxury sedan. So with that, let's step outside and talk finer details. So, we've been saying a lot of really good and nice things about this M440, and they're all true. So this is probably the part of the video where there's the big but, right? Kind of. Because while the styling to me isn't necessarily my cup of tea, a lot of people actually really like this. And it's not really the grille that's bothering me so much. I will say, in this spec, with the Portimao Blue and the Gran Coupe body style, this is probably one of the best looking 4 Series on the road. This blue and the Brooklyn gray we had on the i4 M50 were probably the best specs I've seen on this car. Yes, the grille is big, we know, but you have familiar angel eye running lights. You've got an anniversary roundel donning the hood. You've got black accents signifying the Shadowline package, and check out the profile. You have the same wheels as the i4 M50, and they're wrapped in Pirelli P0 rubber. You've got a black grille behind there, you've got M wing mirrors, and the same door handles as the i4. And then clearly we have the 4-door Gran Coupe, which weirdly I like more than the Coupe. And then around back you have pretty simple taillights. You have dual exhaust with the M Sport exhaust, and best of all, you have the most practical hatch-style trunk. It's spacious, the opening is huge, it's awesome. So even if this isn't your cup of tea stylistically, it's not a bad look. Let's step inside. But then the interior here is where things start to get a little bit interesting. As you can see, we have the same dashboard design as we had last year in the 4 Series, and it's not the new and updated iDrive 8 system that you would get in this year's 2023 3 Series or the new i4. Here's the thing though, I'm not mad because iDrive 7 is pretty great, and you still get more physical buttons for things like climate here. So newer isn't always better, it's nice to have the option. With that said, we've reviewed this interior a bunch of times. It's very solid. It won't give you the flash a Mercedes interior will, but the build is noticeably higher quality. Nothing creaks or rattles as you drive along. The sound isolation is really good. You get a nice head-up display, you have a heated steering wheel, you have a digital gauge cluster, you've got a big infotainment screen, you've got wireless CarPlay, you've got awesome 360 cameras, you've got reverse assist with breadcrumbs, you've got great ambient lighting. I mean, you're really not missing anything here at all. Then in back you have a really usable rear seat, even for 6 feet plus people. You have a black interior, but there's a big pano roof to bring in a bunch of light and make it feel more open. You've got 2 USB-Cs back there, and it's not a bad place to spend time. And then we talked about on the exterior, but you have the big hatchback style trunk, which brings genuine added practicality over something like a 3 Series, which to me is kind of why you would get a 4 Series Gran Coupe versus a 3 Series with the more conventional trunk. So again, I find myself feeling like this review has been sponsored by the word faultless, because it just kinda is. So with that, let's get into the final thoughts. The 2023 BMW M440i. It's just good. It's excellent behind the wheel, it's in a great color spec, and the interior is really well screwed together and comes with the big trunk. There's not much to not love. So at a price of $71,000 as tested, is this M440i worth the money? Thanks again to International BMW for letting me have a go.